Hey to anyone who is here watching the replay. I'm just trying to set things up so I'm not late this time. Just trying to plug in the cord so everything keeps charging. And you get a wider view with YouTube Live than you do with my actual video. So hopefully it'll stop shaking in a second. Alright, my air conditioning is still on, so let me turn that off. That would not be annoying. Alright, now I'm just going to set up my YouTube on my Kindle so I can watch what's going on and see the chat, hopefully. Let me see if I can figure this out. Oh, sorry. I don't know who's here. Just trying to see what I've got going on here. Okay, it's not too bad. It's just a few seconds behind. Now I just need to be able to see the live chat. How do I do that? Possibly should not have tried a new way of doing this 2 seconds before I started. You're right. Okay, you guys are gonna have to give me a few minutes. See, this is why I started a few minutes early. I'm going to go get my laptop because I think that's gonna work better. So sorry folks if you just tuned in. I think one person has tuned in. Oh. 9 things. And there went my lip balm. Okay. All right, so what I have planned for today, while I'm setting this up, is I have 2 one-page layouts that need to get made, but they are basically the same layout, just a different photo. Sorry about this, guys. This is what happens when it's live and you're not an actual professional. Ta-da! Okay. Hopefully this should be muted. Let's see. Cray Ray R. Sorry, and Beth. Hi guys. Hang on, let me just go to what's going on. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so what I'm talking about here is the fact that I have these 2 layouts to make. One is for my nephew, one is for my nephew's best friend. They are having a co-graduation party in August. And so my plan is to make these layouts, and they're going to go in these frames, and then I'm going to hot glue a box to the back of them and put a slit in the top to hold cards. So there'll be one for my nephew and one for my nephew's best friend. I have 2 of these. I'm going to keep them pretty flat because obviously this doesn't have a lot of room. I can probably just not bother putting the glass back in if I want to use thickers rather than stickers. We'll make that decision when we come to it. And I'm thinking I'll probably hot glue a rock to the bottom of the box because this is slightly heavy, not super duper heavy, and of course it would help if I didn't use the glass. But I don't want them tipping over, and so that way, because there will be people who know my nephew but don't know his best friend, And then there will be people who know his best friend but don't know my nephew. So they won't necessarily be bringing a gift for both of them. So I don't want them to have some confusion over that. And then also there are people who want to see them in their graduation stuff who didn't go to the graduation simply because we only had they only had a couple of tickets, so you couldn't do both. So what I have here is Simple Stories Congratulations. This is one of their recent releases. It is a simple set, so it has 3 pieces of pattern paper, so you get 6 designs, but you get 2 of each design. So you get 6 pieces of paper and then a 6 by 12 sticker sheet in the set, and it costs around, I think I paid around $6.50, something along the lines of that. So it was not super expensive. I possibly should have left a little white border around this, but whatever. Alrighty. Okay. So these photos, I'm slightly annoyed. These photos I had printed out at CVS, which is not where I normally get them printed out. I may even just go ahead and reprint them out at the place I get them out, because these are slightly shiny and I prefer a matte finish. Alright, so as I said, I'm going to make 2 different layouts. I'm going to make them at the same time. They are not going to matchy match. Like, I'm not going to use the exact same paper on both of them. I'm just going to use the same line. So I like that one as a background. Ooh, that is stripy. And it's kind of funny because their colors are actually black, gold, and white. So I like the star paper too. I'm not going to be doing a lot, actually I'm not going to be doing any journaling, except I'm going to put their name and their graduation year. I'm not going to put their name on it in this video because both of them, that's not my business to put their names up on YouTube. So, all right, I think for my nephews, I'm going to go with white cardstock, and then with his best friend, I'm going to go with the congrats. And now I'm just going to make sure you can see all of this on the screen. Okay, you can. So how's everyone doing? I know there are not a lot of people here. I think there's like 3. So is everyone having a good Tuesday in July? It is hot here in Connecticut. Very, very hot. So I am running low on white cardstock, but I am doing an order with some friends of mine. So I'm loath to buy more white cardstock, but I might just have to go ahead and do that. I have plenty of the mixed media marshmallow basil. So, I have plenty of that, but I don't like using that unless I'm actually doing mixed media because it's expensive. All right. I've already misplaced my photos. There they are. Well, there's one at least, and here is the other one. So these are not going to take a long time. They're going to be on the simple side. And like I said, I'm going to be using the same lines, but I'm not necessarily going to do them matchy-matchy. So, oh, this one has a little bit of white. While I'm doing this part, I will say on Thursday, I have a video coming up for my part of the Crafty Christmas in July collaboration. This time around I have a 1-page layout, and then next week I have another 2-page layout, and then the last one I have another 1-page layout. So that is what I'm doing. For those of you who don't know, Crafty Christmas in July is kind of a month-long YouTube hop hosted by Heather's Crafty Life, and I have a couple videos in my playlist, and then there's some all through the throughout the other ladies' playlists. And basically, if you comment and subscribe to all of our channels, you have a chance to win a prize at the end of the month that will be drawn by Heather's Crafty Life. Let me just see who's here. Hi, Amy. Hi, Darlene. I always feel like I'm doing romper room when I do these and I say hi to people. So for those of you who hopped in late, I decided to try to use my tablet rather than my laptop to see the comments, and realized I don't know where the comments are on my tablet. So I opened my laptop, but I don't have it set up to be easily accessible. So you'll have to excuse me if it just takes me a second or two to respond to your commentary. Okay, so we have, this is half my life. Half my life is spent looking for a photo. I actually just cleaned my area and reset a bunch of things so that it worked out better. A message board I belonged to had a challenge, and I went for the challenge. So, woohoo! I actually like it so much more now. This one has the hat, so I will... So funny because my nephew is doing a summer program at his college. And I've talked about this before, so I apologize that I'm nattering on about it. But he came home the first weekend and he's like, some of these kids are crazy. Like, they're just like, there are kids that have incompletes. Like, they on purpose didn't do their work. Now this summer program happens to be free for them, but he's saying, you know, like, how can you get in the habit of not doing your work that you're paying for? He's like, they're literally going to be paying for these classes and they're not doing the work. My nephew, although in no way biologically related to me, has gathered my New England cheapness. It's actually the reason he's going to that college, because he knows he's going to have to get a master's degree, and he doesn't want to waste any more money than he absolutely has to for his bachelor's, which I think is hilarious. Gotta love the sound of the ATG. Y'all are quiet. Now see, I should have done this on a Friday night, because people tend to be more awake when they don't have to go to work the next day. Well, not that everyone doesn't have to go to work the next day. So it is hot and humid here. Is it hot and humid where you are? When all else fails, go for the weather. For those of you who popped in later, I am doing 2 single-page layouts for my nephew's and his best friend's graduation party. So that is why I've got 2 random kids in graduation caps, but the pages don't necessarily match. Okay. So I've got this paper, and I think what I'm going to do is tear it. I've been on a tearing streak lately. The only thing I don't get is, why is valedictorian on here? Like, literally, could you go to a smaller group of people than those whose kids actually are valedictorians? And then I always have to think, what will make the white edge? This way or this way? And it's this way. I have to remember I'm working with a 5x7, so I have to go. Ah! I should have torn it across a ruler. You get a more controlled tear, which I tend to be more comfortable with. Yeah, Amy, and that was it. He knows he's going to at least get a master's degree, and that's going to cost more money. Super hot and humid in North Carolina. Oh, and a monsoon. Yikes. Yeah. Glad I don't live there. We had bad storms Saturday night, so much that they postponed our town's fireworks. But not a monsoon. So, yikes. Xanthi is joining me at my feet. She's annoyed with us right now. For those of you, I don't know if I mentioned or not. I think I did mention, but I don't know, obviously, who was here last week. Oh, you know what? I like the stars, too. So maybe I will, yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add another torn layer. But luckily it's in reverse, so I don't have to tear it again, and I can just flip it over and chop a bit off. So these are going to go pretty easily and pretty quickly. My plan is to go ahead. I've prepared a bit of mixed media. So my idea for after this was to do even a dummy can do it mixed media. Oh my gosh, could I do something dumber? Except I don't like that that's like that, so yeah, hi Xanthi. So if you are shaking a little bit, it is not an earthquake here in Connecticut. It is in fact my cat being obnoxious, which she does so enjoy. I don't mean to make light of whatchamacallits, earthquakes. I know y'all in California just went through them, so I apologize if that came off as flippant. It was not meant to be that at all. Yeah, so she might not make an appearance right now. She is annoyed with us. So for those, as I was saying, for those of you who don't know, my housemate's mom became quite ill. In fact, they thought she had C. diff. She didn't. So she got a spider bite, and then the spider bite got infected, and then she had a really, really, really bad reaction to the antibiotics. So much that she was hospitalized, and now she is in a rehab facility, because they don't want to let her go home. And then in actuality, she's only going to go home to start the process to move to cool, because it pretty much, I hate that little divvy thing, but it's going to cover it. Yay! She's pretty much just going to go home and then prepare to go to an assisted facility area, living place, because she's 90 and she lives in a giant Victorian mansion on the coast of Long Island Sound, and it's just not feasible for a 90-year-old woman to stay there by herself any longer. So anyway, there was an actual point to this story, not just me rambling. We have her dog Archie right now, and Xanthi is monumentally annoyed with that fact. So she is letting us know that by not doing her normal things. So normally when I scrapbook, she sits in the box right in front and then kind of pokes her head in. She has not been doing that. In fact, I was over here cleaning sorry, hang on one second. I was over here cleaning for like all day Sunday off and on, and she didn't step foot in here. What she is doing, however, is insisting that she will be sleeping upon my person for the entire night, whether I want her to or not, whether it's ridiculously hot or not. It's just, you know what, bud? This is what we're doing now. Enjoy. So that is what I'm living with right now. All right, let's see. I do like the stars. I'm trying to think. I also want to bring some gold. Well, this has gold over in it. Okay, so I'm just trying to think. Oh, you know what? I've got a piece over here. I don't need to break into a new piece of paper. Okay. I think L shape, but I think I'm going to do a banner. But I'm doing the banner as if the paper is what I'm going to copy. I'm going to do a banner. Wow. I'm going to do a banner this way. Okay. Good job there. So this is what I do when I'm trying to make a banner, and so I have a triple banner punch from Stampin' Up, but when I want to make a banner that's bigger than that, I just use the mat, and then if it's within 1/4 of an inch, I figure I'm doing pretty good, and then I just use my thumbnail to put a little divot where the center is, and then just do the handy dandy, cut up the center, and then connect the things, except, you know what, I'll leave it like this, and then I'll just cut off the other side if I want it shorter. Is it going to be perfect? Most likely not. Do I care? Not even a little bit. Okay, yeah. So I'll just trim some of this off. So as I said, this will be pretty quick. And so what I've done is prepared some mixed media. And basically I'm just going to show you a quick demonstration. And please understand, this is by no means I am a mixed media expert, so you should totally do as I do. It's more I have no idea what I'm doing, and most of the time it turns out looking perfectly fine. So you shouldn't be scared of mixed media type tutorial, because I don't. I have no background in, let me see. Sorry, I need to measure, and I can't measure and talk at the same time. I have no background in mixed media. I have no classical training in mixed media. It's just something I enjoy doing, and I kind of muddle through, and the majority of the time it doesn't suck out loud. I was trying to think of something that wouldn't get me like kicked off of YouTube right there. I'll be totally honest. I'm a little tired, and the words were not going to be pleasant. Okay, I'm liking where these are going. Like I said, very, very simple. Ugh, I do not like the way these photos printed out. I do not care for CVS printing. They just, the colors are off, and yeah, I really think I'm going to rip these off. The party isn't until August, so I think I'm going to rip these off and have them reprinted, because hi, Curly Q Scrapper. I always wonder if people get like annoyed when people actually call them by their screen names, but your real name doesn't pop up, so I can't do anything about it. So that's the breaks. Them's the breaks. I think that's what it says. That's what it, yeah, words are stupid hard. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is make another banner, and I'll use the Big Dreams. And I'm just going to use my small one, my small trimmer. Which is actually too long, but I don't care because it was just the edge there. So I like the other one better, but I can't make it into a banner. And I like the idea. You can't see what I'm talking about. I like this one, and so the adventure begins, but I can't cut this into a banner, and I like the idea of cutting it into a banner. We'll see if this, oh my gosh, it's helpful if I cut the whole thing out. So I think about 2 conversations ago, I was talking about the fact that we are doing Crafty Christmas in July. So that video is coming up on Thursday, and then I'll have like another just regular video coming up on Saturday, and then I'll have another live next Tuesday at the same time. I'm not doing my Lift and Sketch series this month with Christy Harriman. Christy's got some life changes going on, so, and she's busy with other collabs. I don't do a lot of collabs, so worked fine for me. Whatever works. Oh, dang it! I meant to ink these up and I didn't, so that's okay. Life goes on. It didn't happen. No big deal. Okay, so I think I will put his name right here. And then I think what I'll do is my nephew's name down here. Yeah, okay, so I don't think I'm going to bother to put the year. Everyone knows what year they graduated in because it's like kind of one of those things you tend to remember. It's funny. Curly Q, it's funny because you use the word nutmegger, so I'm assuming you're from Connecticut. And apparently YouTube thought you might be using foul language, and they held your comment, so I thought that was kind of funny. They held it because you're from Connecticut. They don't like you. I possibly should have eaten some food before I started this thing. Ooh, I like it. I do. I really, really do. I think I'm good with paper now. I think we're going to move on to embellishments. All right. So I'm going to pull some of these stars. I'm putting his name right there, so I got to tell you, my nephew's best friend's name is Celtic, and it's a pain in the butt to spell. It's got a lot of A's and I's and, H's and hoy vey. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna use the hats off to you. No, I don't like the stars and the stars. How about that? You know what? I'm gonna trim it out and see if I can do something with it, because I like the idea of including a 3x4 card on both, but using them in different ways. So I guess it's a 3x4 cut apart. And I do like this phrase, and it reminds me of I could do it. Oh, I likey that a lot. So I want it framed up like that, or I think I like it framed up like that. I'm gonna audition that for a little bit and think about it. I could even pop that up. Yeah, I think I've decided to just take the glass out and not bother using the glass. For those of you who have joined since the beginning, because I did show this at the beginning, my plans for these are to be in front of boxes to hold cards that people give. And so like the scrapbook page will go in here, and then this will stand like this, and I'll have a box hot glued to the top, to the back of it, with a slit for cards. And that way, because as I mentioned at the beginning, and I'm sorry for those of you who have been here since the beginning, getting the repeat of this, but there will be people at the party that don't know him, and there will also be people at the party that don't know him, so I don't want people getting confused. All right, no, that's too big. kind of hoping to use that one, but I can use this one, and that one will fit. There we go. But I was concerned that if I used, whatchamacallit, oh, my brain, it does indeed enjoy taking vacations. If I pop dotted it, it wouldn't fit, so I do believe I'm just going to go ahead and use the, use it without the glass. Oh gosh, wow, that took forever for a really simple sentence. So, yes, they are having a co-graduation party, and it's not until August, which is awesome because that means I can get all the party supplies on clearance because I'm super cheap. His parents are both teachers, and they are both taking classes, so they basically said, do whatever you want, just don't spend too much money. And I went, okie dokie. I'm not going super fancy. I'm doing one decor piece. Basically because the teenagers want a place where they can take photos. And that's it. Don't glue the side of the card over the photo. Oh, gee, Beth! Thank you so much! You are so awesome! Thank you! I am just going to peel off the ones on this one side, and then I will leave the rest with this glue. Oh my, Beth, you literally saved my sanity. Yeah, I like that. Beth rocks. Seriously, Beth, you're awesome. All right, I need some like white stickers or light gray to put, because I want to put some over here. Oh, there's a star, and it's fading because it's in the white. All right, there we go. I don't want to put words over words, so I can use the other sticker right here. And then I know I should probably have something here. I mean, I guess I could put his name going down this way rather than over here. Sorry, I'm having a wee bit of a brain fart. I just don't know. You know what? I'm going to see if I have any white acrylics that I can add. I think all the white acrylics I have are like flowers, which would not work at all. But I'm going to take a gander. Oh, I've got butterflies. That works even less. not a butterfly page. So these are a mix, and yeah, I don't have any white ones except like, so I have no, I got some things like in a grab bag, and I got these, and I'm like, I don't know if they're eggs or flower petals, but I only got 3, so that's an awkwardly shaped flower. I mean, if I ever, I don't know, do something about eggs, I do like eggs, but I don't necessarily think I ever wanted to do a page about them. I do have that. Heart. I could use that. Oh, yeah, that might actually work. Okay, we're gonna use that. And what I will do is I will put, come on out, thank you. So these are from Color Cast Designs. What I will do is put the sectioned heart up here, and then the other one Oh, I don't know if I like that. I think I'm going to put it on the photo, but I won't glue it because I'm not adding the photo. But I think if I do that, I don't like that sticker there. So if I do that there, I want the sticker there. And then I think I'm going to add some enamel dots as well. And I think we're almost done with this. Like I said, 2 very quick pages, minimal embellishment. You know, this isn't necessarily the place to go super embellishy, and I'm not going to glue that down because, as I said, I think I'm going to, I just don't think the quality of this is very nice. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I can show you what I mean. I mean, it's not like these photos are fabulous to begin with because they are taken inside a gym and the sun was literally like coming in sideways because by the time they finished, it was like 7 o'clock. So, where is that photo? I have this photo, or one very similar to it. See, that looks so much better. It's not creepy. This one's slightly, his face is kind of creepy. And he's not creepy, he's a nice dude. I'll put that away later. Okay. Alrighty, do I think I'm good? Oh, I wanted to add enamel dots. I just need to find, I think I'm going to go for gold glitter enamel dots. And I'm not going to do any spatters on it because I don't necessarily think that people who don't scrapbook understand spatters at all. They just think you spilled something on your page. And while I don't care necessarily, aha, found them. What my family thinks of my scrapbooking. This one's gonna be looked at by total strangers. And I don't normally share scrapbooking outside of scrapbookers or my family. So unless someone at work begs me to make a card or is like, my sister wants to do scrapbooking. 30 years. And I'm like, oh, sweetie, let me introduce you to the Project Life app. The woman who I'm talking about, her sister just had twins. Like, you do not want to start scrapbooking with newborn twins. I'm like, just keep the information, do all the journaling, take the photos, worry about it in 15 years when they don't want to be anywhere near you. I think scrapbooking is a great thing for women or men to do who have just had their kids go off to college. But you kind of have to like have all that information already either in your head or available. Y'all are not chatty at all, which is fine. No one has to be chatty. I can chat enough for all of us. But I'm now thinking I wish I had put that on foam. I might go back and do that, but not now. So here is my 2 layouts, and they will go, as I said, in these frames. You know what, let's take the one where everything's actually glued down. So they'll just pop right in there, and then, as I said, I will attach a box to the back of them, and they will be for any cards the guys receive at the party. And that's my one crafty thing that I'm doing for that party. And then the other, well, I shouldn't say the one crafty thing, the other thing, which has nothing to do with scrapbooking, is I'm going to take some balloons and blow them up to different sizes and use glue dots and stick them to a sheet. And that is going to be the wall, whatchamacallit, like for photos and stuff like that. very basic, very simple. Don't want to take the time or make the effort because the boys literally do not care. They're like, is there going to be food? Then we're good. Right? It's like, I often say you can tell if he's been annoying me. If you see a bunch of teen layouts in a row, he's been, a really good teenager. He's been not annoying me. But if you see a bunch of cat or dog layouts in a row, he's been a total turd, and I'm not speaking to him and or talking to him about anything, including wanting to scrapbook his face. Amy, that's funny. I got what you meant. All right, so I thought we could do a little bit. I hesitate to call it a mixed media tutorial because I offer no experience other than that which is self-taught. I have never taken a mixed media class. I have no art experience other than I took art in elementary school and I believe maybe one art class in middle school. I just, have done by trial and error and by just going forward and watching a lot of Missy Whitten and Christina Werner and Sandy Allnuck, although, oh my God, I do not do work like her at all. Like she's a professional artist. So I just don't let a bad turnout, just have me say, you know what, I'm never doing this again. So first thing I want to talk about is, and a lot of people are confused about what the heck is gesso. So gesso, and that's Gesso, is basically something you use to make your paper tougher. I liken it to sunblock for paper. So when you put sunblock on, that doesn't mean you're never going to burn or you're protected for the rest of your life. Eventually, the sunblock wears off and you become a tomato, or at least I do. For paper, what it means is it gives you a little bit of time to work with your mixed media. It lets it sit on top of the paper before it sinks in. So if you do any type of mixed media, I'm sorry, I put my gesso down somewhere and now I can't find it because I was going to show you what I use, but apparently, and I just gessoed something like an hour ago, so I have no idea where it went. This is clear gesso. I know, why are you using clear gesso on white paper? Because white gesso is actually off-white. So if you use it on white cardstock and you don't get it absolutely corner to corner, you can see the difference in the color, and for some reason that annoys me. It's weird, if it doesn't annoy you, you can go ahead and use white gesso. Hi, Coley. I don't know, is it okay to use your real name on here? I mean, I can call you Coley Bang, that's fine. Sorry. So anyway, as I was saying, the gesso just gives it a little, people call it tooth. So the gesso I use, it does have a grit to it. I figure once I stick it in a page protector, no one's going to be touching my layout. Some people, it really bothers them. They do have other gessos that are not as gritty. I do believe the white gesso is not as gritty as well. So let's spray some stuff. I'm going to go with my favorite. That's not my favorite. Oh, okay. Coley thinks her name is Nicole, but I didn't want to use her name if she's one of those. Some people are very adamant about not using their real name on YouTube. Oh my gosh, my dog's gone crazy. All right, so I've got a couple of vibes. So these are Shimmer's products. These are only available online. And I'm going to spray them on here on the non, and I'm going to spray them on the gessoed piece. And this is Basil Marshmallow cardstock. It is a little bit thicker than regular cardstock, and it does hold up more to mixed media. So if you were going to use, say, distress oxides or just regular distress things, or even if you were just going to lightly do what's referred to as the packaging technique, where you take some ink and you smoosh it on a piece of plastic and then flip it over, you would probably be okay. You get a little bit of buckling and you would not get much movement of the color, but you would be fine. Now, shimmers and anything with mica, so anything that has a sparkly thing in it, the recommendation is that you roll it between your hands rather than shake it. If you shake it, the mica can get, oh my God, there's a guy outside. He's totally watching me talk to myself. Okay, hi, yeah. All right, okay, cool. He lost interest. I was so thankful when the mailman came because he came super late. I'm assuming it's holiday time, like someone's on holiday. So, because he didn't come until like 5:15, and I was getting very worried that he was going to come once again while I'm talking to myself, because he does that quite often. Okay, so no, I won't show up on your driveway. You're like across the country from me. So as I was saying before, the dude was staring at me. Yeah, so if you have mica, no, I did that part. If you're doing very light mixed media where you're not, even if you're doing texture paste through a stencil, you can get away with it and it won't be super buckly. It can buckle a little. You'll see that this has gone up, but once you stick it in a page protector, it totally flattens out. All right, so I'm going to move that so I don't get the overspray. And so this is Jenny B Blue. It's my favorite color. This is a new bottle, so that's why it's kind of like that. So you'll see there's no, like, the stuff I sprayed over moves a little bit, but the stuff that's lightly sprayed, that's where it is. So I've got two more blues. I've got Cold as Ice and Deep Blue Sea. And as you can see, yeah, it does make it buckle a little, but like literally if I stick it under my mat, it totally straightens out, no problem. So we'll do some Cold as Ice. And same, you can get it to move a little bit, but there isn't really anything you can do. And if you see me, I'm like almost vertical and tapping, and you get a little bit of movement. And then once again, Deep Blue Sea, and this is a darker, it's like somewhat between a teal and a navy. Actually, it might even be really closer just to a navy. It's what I've never sprayed. Oh my goodness, is this broken? I've never sprayed this one, so I didn't know that. Oh no, it just needs to prime itself. Okay. Okay, there we go. And so, same thing, like you can get it to move a little bit, but not a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think this looks really pretty. I'm not like disliking it. It's just if you're looking for mixed media differences, this is what we're talking about. Okay, I'm not going to do the exact same colors because if I end up using this, I don't want like the two of the exact same. So I think I'll go for pinks. And this one I have, that's not the one I want. All right, so I've got Pink Stilettos, Sweetheart, and Caribbean Sunset. So basically it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to try the same type of thing. I'm just going to use it on the gessoed piece of paper. Now, one thing I didn't do was add water to the other one because all it would do is ruin it. But you can already see here how it's pooling. And let's spray it on the paper. Genius. So you can see there's a lot more movement. So that's basically all that gesso does. If you're using white gesso, you can use it to tone down things. And as I said, you can add some water. Oh, I possibly should have refilled this. And it will allow you to, it just waters stuff down a little bit so you can make it move or make it not so intense. So then if I had added water to the other paper, it just would have, what happens to wet paper. So that is basically what the difference between a gessoed piece of paper, and now obviously it's a little bit wet, but you can see it hasn't even gone through to the other side. If you look at this one, the ungessoed piece, you can see the ink on the other side. Now, I'll go ahead and add a little bit of water. So you see, like, a little bit goes, but it basically just soaks right in a few seconds later. Like, it's already soaked, for the most part, soaked back in. I'm really shaking that, but not super much. And this is actually still wet. If I wanted to add more water, I could, but I actually kind of like this. It looks like a freaky dog face. But the cool thing is you just add stuff over it, and it becomes magically awesome. All right, so that would be step one of a mixed media, where I just show you gesso. And now what I'm going to show you is like super easy thing you can do. I'm using an example of a card, or cards, because it's always easier to make two, or it's just as easy to make two as it is to make one. These are just pieces of hardboard. Basically what they make a, a clipboard out of. I got that on Amazon for about $8. Painter's tape. Mine's from Lowe's, because that's where I got it. And then you can use basically whatever kind of watercolor you want. So this is just a piece of paper that I make for what I like my colored card sizes, because I like it to be slightly smaller than an A2 card. And that way, because I like a border on my card. And then, sorry, hang on 1 second. Then what I do is I just go through it. I just go through it with a brayer and get the edges pressed down so you don't have a problem. And so this is just what they call a wet mount watercolor, which basically means you wet down the background before you start. So I'm going to be using these because I got them on Amazon. So I never, I want to be able to use things that people have access to. I forgot to put that cap back on. That's going to bother me later. All right, I'll just go there for right now. Oh, there they are. This is why it's better just to put things away in the first place rather than move them out of the way and try to find them later, because then I just annoy myself. So some people like the rounded ones, some people like the flat ones. I have no experience, so I don't know what the difference is in having it done correctly. So what I just do is take a wide flat brush and add water. And as I said before, I don't remember if I actually said this or if I just said it in my head. I find as long as you've got 2 of the 3 things, you're okay. You either have experience and understanding of how watercolors work, you have good paper, or you have good watercolors. I have good paper and good watercolors, and I can get by decently. If you're someone like, say, Christina Werner, and you have talent and good watercolors, talent and good paper, she gets away with working with Crayola watercolors. If I tried to work with Crayola watercolors, I would probably make a horrible mess. So I'm just going to wet my brush, and then, so for me, one thing to do when you're just starting out and you're not sure is to try to work in the same color family. So if you want to do all blues and purples, blues, purples, and greens, you're pretty safe in that you're going to not make a horrifyingly awful mess. So I have the classics and I have Pastel Dreams, and I'm going to use both. I'm just going to use the blues from both. This one I've used several times. This one I got for Christmas, and I have not yet used it. And you see it kind of moves when you're using the wet. It moves on its own. And then you can either dry it with a heat tool, or you can let it dry naturally. And I don't necessarily think there's a wrong way to do it. It's just a matter of how patient you are and how much time you have. So, and obviously if you wanted a more concentrated color, you wouldn't use as much water. Go into some purples, and I can add the darker purple. And the thing is they don't have to be perfect. They're not meant to be perfect. They're just meant to be pretty. And I find that, you know, if I just keep at it, you know, it works. So, and I want to add a little bit more purple. Is this one here? There we go. And if you ever have like too much of something, or you need to mop it up, if you just take a little paper towel and like dab it, you can get quite a bit of it up. I mean, you can like really go to town with that, but I do want to add some more up in this corner. So I'm going to add some of that. Like I said, if you stay within the same color family, and like I try not to like mix the colors real bad, but once again, I'm not a professional. I do not have super expensive ones. As I said, these were on Amazon. They're probably $15 to $20 for the palette. I did not actually buy them myself. I asked for, this is when I want something for people want to buy me stuff on for Christmas or my birthday that's craft related, as that's, you know, my hobby. I will often tell them things that are on Amazon that don't go on sale at Michael's, or I know I can't get them really far cheaper than they ever could. And so that's when I get stuff like that. How's everyone doing? Everyone's being so quiet. I don't know if you guys are all just going, oh my gosh, this is stupid. Why am I even watching this? I love how we're like, everyone thinks I'm horrible. Nobody really thinks I'm horrible. Well, I mean, probably there are a couple people who think I'm actually horrible, but for the most part, I don't think people think I'm horrible. All right, so, and then the second one, I'm going to use this Prima. This I also got as a gift. I'm holding on to it, that's why it's not working. Oh, by the way, if you guys have this type of the self-healing mat and you get ink on it and you don't want ink on it, if you happen to have one of these Freckled Fawn stamp chamois, this actually takes up ink quite well. It's not super wet. I can just stick in here, dum-dum. But this takes up ink quite well. So, little trick I learned by experimenting with it actually. So, just clean that up a little bit. Yeah, that actually, I use that on my mat, like probably way more than I actually use it to clean up stamps, just because I don't clean up stamps very often. So this set is also by Prima. It's just metallic watercolors instead, and I also, as I said, got it on Amazon. Wow, words! So this is another one of my I allowed someone to buy it for me. That makes me sound so high maintenance, and it has nothing to do with that. It's more, I don't want people wasting their money. Like my parents bought me my silhouette, and I cringe because I know they paid probably about $80 more than I would. All right, so we've got warm colors, cool colors. I think I want to go for so for these, I like actually adding some water to the pans. I also have Shimmer's products, but Shimmer's products are only available online, and obviously Amazon is online, but a lot more people are familiar with Amazon than they are. It's so weird because they put the wrong grouping on. Like, so this is this, and this one on the left here is actually on the right, and it drives me bonkers because I forget all the time. So, yeah, I think I'll... But what I like to do is just add a little bit of water to the pans rather than the non-shimmery ones, because I find the watercolors with shimmer need extra time. And once again, if you want deeper color, simply don't add as much water. All right, let's try straight across. I have to tell you, most of the time when I do straight across, it never actually ends up being straight across. Straight lines are not my friends. At all. So as I was saying, I also have the Shimmer's products, but I wanted to show you something you guys could get easily yourself. And that's hilarious you're watching my technique, because I literally have no technique. It's just slapping paint on the page. And like I said, I really just wanted to do this because I wanted to show you that really, as long as you just keep going, and maybe you do have to toss away some paper, but I mean, at the most, you're just like tossing away some paper. It's not like you're throwing your 5-hour cake that you just made because you replaced the sugar for salt. Been there, done that. This took me 10-15 minutes, and it's just a little bit of paper. And this paper is Strathmore Yellow Pack from Michaels. So hang on a second, I've got it right here. There's 12 sheets of Strathmore watercolor, but it was either on sale for 50% off, or I used a 50% off coupon, and I bought this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and then I just cut it up into card sizes, because mainly when I do this technique, I'm doing it for cards. Usually if I am doing watercoloring for scrapbooking, I'm either going to do the packaging technique, or I'm just going to spray it on. I tend not to use the pans for scrapbooking simply because it just takes a lot of time and it tends to spread out a little bit. So, but that's basically it. So I'll show you some completed ones that I did over the weekend. Had a lot of cards to make because, as I mentioned, my nephew graduated, so thank you cards galore in my house. So these I did use shimmers. I did 2 pink toned ones, and these are the spritzes, so they have shimmer to them. And these I sprayed on and then just kind of blotted them up. It did have a couple bits of not my favorite part of the watercolor, but that's fine because what I'll do is that's where I'll put my little stamped, obviously it'll be bigger than this, but that's where my, I'll put something over it right there and no one will know that that was the part that was kind of eggy. And then these I used watercolors. They're shimmers. Watercolors are called 3 different things. There's creamies, which don't have any shimmer, inklings, which has some shimmer, and then shimmers, which was the original product, which has a ton of shimmer. So these were all made using like the pots of watercolor, and I used a mix of the inklings, the creamies, and the shimmers. So what I'll just do is trim these down, because right now this entire piece is the A2 size, so 4.25 by 5.5. So I will just trim it down and then, as I said, slap a stamped on a piece of white cardstock that says thank you, and then that'll be my card. I'm just reading your things. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Krista. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is that's exactly what I did. I have 0 experience in mixed media, like I said, other than elementary school art. I never took an art class. I did take 1 art class in high school. I did stained glass, and I made a nightlight, and then my teacher took it because he liked it, and he wanted to keep it as an example, which I thought was rude because I wanted my nightlight. Anyway, bitter. Still bitter. 30 years, no, it's not quite 30 years, but like 25 years later, still bitter. But other than that, and as I said, the palettes are not super duper expensive. You don't have to go like crazy quality for your, watercolors. I just suggest something above like the Artist Loft or whatever store brand from Michaels or Joann's or whatnot, because those are very similar to the Crayola ones, and you have to know what you're doing in order to do it. So like I was saying, it's kind of that my 2/3. You either have to know what you're doing, or you have to have good paper, or you have to have good ink. You have to have 2 out of those 3 things in order to just get things working. So I want to show you back to where we started with using gesso versus not gesso. So you'll see they're not quite dry yet, but the quality of the color is better in the gesso one than in here. And that's only when you're using a lot of gesso. I'm sorry, a lot of ink. If you're not going to use a lot of ink, so if you'll see here, this is gessoed, this is not gessoed. And I'm going to do a packaging technique. And basically, you can just use any non-porous material, aka plastic. So any of your packaging would work fine. You just have to know that if you put a lot on a piece of plastic and it's of a smaller size, it's going to adhere to its size. So if I put a ton on here and flipped it over, it would make a square. If you ever did a slide cover in science class and you put that drop of water, and when you flip it, the slide over, the drop of water spreads to the slide cover, it's the same principle here. So if you're using a smaller piece of plastic, you have to use a smaller amount of, whatchamacallit, mixed media. There are words, I promise. Okay, so I've got Rip Van Periwinkle. It's a newer color from Shimmers. And I'm just going to put a little bit. And then you can add some water. And then you're just going to flip it over. Now, the thing about doing the packaging technique is you're not looking for the center. So this is why I move it around, because otherwise you're going to get the lines. So you'll see how it's moving over here, but over here it's settled in space. But as I said, with the packaging technique, you're not looking for this. This isn't what you should be worried about. This isn't what people are going to be looking at, because that's where you're going to slap your photo down. So what you're looking at is the edges. What you want is what's going around here. So once you take your photo and you place it over where you just slap the ink down, it looks really cool. This is one photo my nephew took of the sun setting while he was on a plane. I know you were really confused about the plane arm that, you know, he was out there. Sometimes my explanations really don't need explanations. So another thing you can do is by using the same color. What was the new color from Shimmers? Danielle, this is called Rip Van Periwinkle. This actually came out, I believe, in May. They now have these little color kits, and they do one regular and then one Missy Whitten version. And I almost wanted to get the ones for July, but I refrained. But I did buy both for May because I'm it's hilarious. I'm 50% completely cheap and then 50% here, take my money. Just depends on the day, I gotta tell you. The thing with Shimmers is because all of their products are liquid, it's expensive shipping. I will not lie. It's like $9 to $10 for shipping, which when you're only buying like 2 items, seems like an awful lot. But she's shipping liquid, so it's not super cost effective, unfortunately. So as you can see, just by spattering on top with the same color, because the concentration of the ink is obviously larger, you get the different color tones. So even if you don't have a lot of mixed media, you can still get varied colors in it. If you wanted to, you could spritz this into a container, add a little bit of white acrylic paint, and not only would it change the color, it would also change the consistency. So then you're adding a different texture, which is another thing that adds interest to your background. All right, is this one dry enough yet? All right. So what I'm going to do here is, because I love the colors in it, but I don't necessarily adore where it's going. What I'm going to do is add some texture paste. Now, texture paste is anything that adds a little bit of dimension to your page. Some of it will be shiny, some of it will be matte, some of it will have glitter. It just doesn't matter. And a lot of times, if you're confused as to how to use something, there are tons of products out there, and some of them are at your local craft stores, like your big box stores, and you can totally use them. The Ranger texture paste is there. With a coupon, you can use it. What else is over there? They've got like the Artist Loft, or and for texture paste, it's totally fine. They also have Finnabar, which is a division of Prima. And please understand, as I say, all I've learned about mixed media is from YouTube videos. Like, that's it. That's like, I have no formal schooling. I know nothing other than what I've learned on YouTube and what I've learned from trial and error. So I thank you, Elena, for your incredibly kind compliment. I just do not want anyone to think I am passing myself off as a scholar of all things mixed media, because I am totally not. But what I'm saying is just go and try it. Because, you know, as I said, I have no experience. This is just for me playing around. So, you know, spend a little bit of money. It's not like we haven't spent thousands of dollars on our scrapbooking stuff that's sitting in boxes in our rooms. Spend a little money, you know, and play. Because sometimes I don't even like go into my scrapbooking area. Can't really call it a room. I mean, other than the dining room. But I go in my scrapbooking area and I just play around, you know. I nothing, you know. Sometimes it turns into a background, sometimes it turns into cards, but I don't necessarily always go in with the idea that I'm going to make a page. Sometimes I just go in with the idea of, you know, fooling around. All right, I've got 2 stencils here. Both are Echo Park. This one's actually brand new. I just got it from Paper Issues. And then this one I bought this, what's that called? International Scrapbooking Day. As part of the Hip Kit sale. So, in using a stencil, if you're going to use a stencil with ink, you need to be careful because it will bleed through if you're not super duper careful. Especially this is like, you know, buckled paper. If you're using with texture paste, the only thing you really have to be careful about is if you move it, some of the texture paste can be on the edges, and so if you move it, you'll get a little bit of ghosting. But normally when I'm doing stencils on a scrapbooking page, I'm either going for, I don't care if it's a little bit messy, or I use Distress Oxide inks because those are far more forgiving, and the way you put them on your page offers a lot more control. Sorry, I'm opening the wrong door. So if you are going to go for some mixed media and you're not sure what to do, or you don't want to make a mess, I suggest you use Distress Oxides. They're very forgiving, they work really well, it's a lot easier cleanup than a texture paste. I will get to the texture pastes. I'm just going to start with this because texture paste has to be cleaned up immediately. Warning, from whatever you use to put it on to the actual stencil, you have to clean your texture paste with warm water immediately after you use it, or just go ahead and throw the stencil away because it will never ever be the same. So this is Chipped Sapphire Distress Oxide, and these are makeup brushes. These are not the super duper expensive ones that you can buy for, like, I think it's $40 for one brush or $20 for one brush. These were $9 for a set of 8. And I do not use enough mixed media to justify the cost of an expensive brush. All right, so just a light touch, and you just kind of swirl it, you know, and you know, you don't have to press down really hard. You just kind of swirl it over. You can go over again, blend it better. It's a little wet here in the center, so it's kind of blouging a little. That's okay. If you go up to the end, you will get that edge. So I try, if I'm looking for a more softer look, I just make sure I don't go to the edge. And then some people, all they do is wipe it off on a paper towel. I tend to, once I'm finished for the day, I go and I just run it under water and then briskly brush it over a paper towel. And for $9, I'm okay if it only lasts, if it doesn't last me as long because I add water to it. I just don't like the colors to mix up all the way. Let me just pull that out. All right, do you have any questions? Anyone ask a question about like what I'm doing or about something you own that you're not quite sure what to use it for? So here is, sorry, I forgot. Did I use tape? I don't use tape if I am using it on a paper that's not buckled normally. What I really want to get is that pixie spray that people have been using lately, because that looks super awesome. And this is going to rip because that paper is dry. It's okay. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but I don't know if I'll use it as a background or not. And you will need to wipe this off because there is ink on top of it. Another thing you could do, I'm just not going to do it today because it's just not going to happen, is you can mist it with water and then flip it over and, you know, continue making it part of your background. Because you can continue adding layers of things, you know, and then have a super duper mixed media background. That's totally fine if you want to go for the total arty look. And then when you're peeling painter's tape off, you want to flip it over. It's on itself. It just makes it not tear the paper as badly. Sometimes the paper will still tear. I'm not going to lie. But sometimes it's fine. Alright, so I brought out some different things. I'm not going to use them all. I have Nuvo glitter paste. I've got Shimmer's pasties, putting on the glitz. This is this will dry clear. Nuvo embellishment mousse. Embellishment mousse is interesting if you use it with a like one of these mini ink blender tool. You can rub it over and it goes over like a shiny mousse, almost the consistency of like a really let's see, what am I trying to think of? Like a clay mask almost for your hair or for your face. But you can also dig it out and then put it through a stencil, and it's more of a texture paste. And then we have Vicki Boutin Rose Gold Glaze. So basically it's the exact same thing except it's shiny and it's a little bit looser. And then I've got Texture Paste by Ranger, and this is just flat white texture paste. You can mix this with any color. You want to use highly pigmented colors. So I wouldn't necessarily use it with a watercolor. Like a pan, you can use it with these, like the sprays, or if you have like the Diane Reevely sprays or the Distress ink sprays, any of those, because those are highly pigmented, so they will not get washed out. Because if you use anything else, you're going to get like super pastel, and even these won't be as vibrant with the texture paste. Yeah, it is actually very similar to Blueprint Distress ink. That's a Vibe, so it has shimmer to it. So not so much with the packaging technique. You do lose a lot of the shimmer with the packaging technique, but when you spray it, it does have a lot of it. Actually, I could be wrong on that. Hang on a second. I'm saying that like I know, and I actually don't remember if it is a Vibes. No, it's a Vibes. Okay. Phew, not totally wrong. So let's go with the Nuvo glitter paste. Once I do this, I am going to have to go take this and go soak it in water really quick. Just to know about what to use with them. You have gift cards that you've already added to your account. They are now awesome as scrapers of all thing pasty, including gesso and any of these. You can totally use this. I have this, which I picked up at Joann's for, I do believe, $1.59. And I just like it because it has a handle. So, and the angle brush makes it easier to scoop in stuff. Or scoop out stuff. That's what I meant. Scoop in stuff. Yeah, everyone likes to scoop in stuff. You don't need a ton. You can always go back for more. You don't want to have so much that, you know, you then wasted a whole ton of it. So just like with the color, if you go all the way to the edge, you're going to get that hard edge. And that's fine if that's something you want. It's just, you know, if you don't want it, be aware. And you just scrape through it. And then once you pull it up, you can see, because this is clear, which is just shower. I don't know how well it's showing up. Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't show up all that great. Let me see if I've got something else. Here we go. And this is plastic and it's in my way. Just be aware that when, as I said, when this dries, that's it. So when I say you need to wash it right away, I mean it. And your best bet is warm water, because if you do it in cold water, it doesn't necessarily work. And I usually like to scrape it all off because I don't want mine to be too high. You don't have to do that. You can like leave it gloopy and then have difference in heights, depending on how arty you want to be. So there we go. And I'll try to bring it up close. Okay, there you can see it now. I'm watching the replay, so I'm a few seconds behind. So I kind of just had it like held. Hi, Alice. I'm going to go pop this in the water. Give me about 30 seconds. I've got a water bowl, but I didn't want to bring it in my dining room. So talk amongst yourself, or, you know, watch silently, whatever you prefer. Okay. Yeah, like I said, you really have to rinse it off really quickly. That is the one that it really does become like really shimmery cement. Okay, I think that's going to do it for today. Hour and 15 minutes, right? 5:40. Oh, an hour and a half. Woo woo. Does anybody have any questions or anything like you own or that you've wanted to look at that I might have, mixed media wise, or even? I'm back, Amy, so I can tell you my card sizes are the A2. They are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That's the typical card size that you can get the envelopes for on Amazon. Like I buy my cards on Amazon. They're the ones, if you ever like make a Stampin' Up! Card or you make Close to My Heart card, those are the normal sizes they make. So this whole thing is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then what I normally do is I make a little template that's 4 by 5 1/4, and that gives me a good area to just slightly tape slightly larger, so that way when I trim it down, it will be slightly smaller. Hang on, let me show you a card I'm making. Please understand, I am by no means an amazing card maker. I am an adequate card maker. But the majority of my cards I do this way. I'm trying to find one that is one I actually made, not one I made from a kit. So this uses a stamp by Heather's Crafty Life. So the inner part is the 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then the larger part is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then that way it just goes on a card. It just fits in a regular envelope. That's what they refer to as the A2 size. And that is what's considered a regular card size in card making, rather than say like the ones you buy at CVS. See, this is a reason people are like, if you're not a card maker, why do you make cards? Because I own thousands of dollars worth of supplies. I don't feel like paying $5 for a card. So there you go. All right, ladies, thank you guys so much for joining me here. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below and I will answer them. If you could flick me a thumbs up for this, that would be awesome, because I get a lot more people watching this on the replay than watch it live. I understand it's dinner time for a lot of people right now, but this is when I have the house to myself. So if you're watching this on replay, if you have made it through the 1.5 hours of this blah of everything, flick me a thumbs up. It helps out in a very little way. All right, folks, thank you guys again. I'm gonna sign off now, and I will see you next Tuesday, same time. I feel like making a Batman joke. Same bat time, same bat channel. But I will be back here once again next Tuesday, 5:45. I'll just enjoy seeing what other people's process for making kits are. And Thursday, my Crafty Christmas in July video will come out, so don't forget to look for that. And then Saturday, just some random layout will come out. I actually haven't voiced it over yet, so I have no idea what it's going to be. All right, ladies. Have a good night. Bye. If you're still watching, it's going to get a little shaky. Try not to kill you. Ooh, up close. There you go. See? Now you can get it a good look at what that looks like. Oh, that actually turned out really nice. Yay! All right. Bye, ladies.